This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So yesterday we started with dialogue programming. We understood how to design the text fields and what push buttons. We have handled the PAI event. Okay. Now let us take another example. So what is that we have done yesterday? If I go to how to design this dialogue programming screens by using what screen painter tool SC51, and we have to launch that tool from what object navigator. So we went to SC80, that is object navigator. We created the module pool program with the top include program, and we have created one screen. We have designed the screen layout with some text field and two push buttons. We gave some properties for these elements, and we have handled the PA event as part of our flow logic. And we understood that we cannot directly execute the module pool programs. We must create the transaction code. Okay. Similarly, now the requirement is something like this. See, I want a custom transaction which should contain some three input fields and three text fields, and it should contain some four push buttons like addition, clear, exit, and cancel. Okay, these are the four buttons we require, and they are the validation. So first let us focus on designing the screen, right? So I'll quickly do it since we already discussed yesterday. So I'll go a little fast. So I'll go to Object Navigator SC80. Then from the drop down, you have to choose what? Program, right? From the drop down, you have to choose program and you have to give the program name. Since it is a custom program, let us start with the Z. I'll say Z830 mod 2. Z830 mod 2. I'll press enter, right? So when I press enter, it is saying that the program does not exist. Create the object. Yes. Let us create this module program along with what? Top include program. We can use the top include program to declare what? Global variables and defining what? Subroutine and module definitions. I'll say yes here. It is asking, do you want to create the top include? Create with the top include? Yes. Better we create with the top include. So I'll select the checkbox, continue. I'll give the name of the top include program as Z830 mod 1 top. Z830 mod 1 top, continue. Yeah, oh, sorry. It's already existing. So let me cancel this. I'll just cancel. I'm just canceling. I'll press enter once again. Yeah, program does not exist. Create the object. I'll create it with the top include. Let me give the name of the top include as Z830 mod 2 top. Z830 mod 2 top. Start with Z, end with top. In between, you can give any name. So I'll say continue. Yeah, what is the type of program? Module pool. You can give any title, whatever you want. I'll save it. Okay, the module pool program is getting saved. Right. So you can see by default, the module pool program contains what? One include program. Right. It contains the include program. Now, what is the next scenario? As part of this module pool program, we need to create one screen. How do you create the screen? By using what? Screen painter tool. So I'll right click on the program. Okay, I'll say create what? Screen. Right click on the program, create screen. Right, I'll give the screen number as you can give any number between 1 to 9999. I'll give it as screen number as 100. Any number is fine. Continue. Yeah, it has launched the screen painter tool. In the attributes tab, you have to give the description. Let me give a description as something screen 100. Done. I gave some description. Then what is the screen type here? Normal only. Already we know the screen type should be what? Normal. Let us design the layout. I'll go to layout. Yeah, as part of this layout, I'll take some three input fields. So you can see it on the toolbox. We have what IO fields. I'll just click and draw. This is one IO field. Click and draw. Hold the space bar and draw it. Click and draw. So three IO fields I have designed. Okay. And for these IO fields, let us give some names. I'll double click on this. What is the name of the input field? You can give any name. I'll give it as IO1. Okay, so the name is IO1 and I want to use these input fields to enter numbers. So you can see here for the same IO field, if you go to properties in the property window, in the dictionary tab only, right? In the dictionary tab only, there is a property called as format, right? There's a property called as format. Okay, what is the format? It is showing here character. Okay, I'll change it to what? Int 4, so that I can use it for entering only what numbers. So I'll say int 4. Done. So two important properties, name and format I'm getting is integer 4. Similarly, I'll double click on the second input field. I'll give the name as IO2. You can give any names whatever you want. Okay, format, let us give it as what? Integer. Understood? I want to restrict these input fields to enter only what? Numbers. Then I'll double click on the third input field. I'll give the name as IO3, and I'll give the format as what? Int4. Done. Okay. So three input fields, three IO fields. The names are IO1, IO2, IO3. And format also I gave it as what? Int4. Done. Next, what you have to do, I want some text fields. So I'll just take the text field, I'll draw it beside this. Three text fields I'll draw just beside this. Okay, let us give some properties for the text fields. I'll double click on the first one. I'll give the name as something T1. I'll give the text as something first number, something. Okay, then for the second text field, let us give the name as T2. I'll give the text as something second number. Third text field, I'll give the name as T3. Let us give the text as addition is. Done. Okay, so I gave what? Three text fields. Names are T1, T2, T3. You can give any names. Then I want four push buttons. I'll take first push button, second push button, third push button, and a fourth push button. Okay, so I want something like this. So what I'll do here, I'll give the double click on this. I'll give the name as what? Name as what? B1. Understood? Double click on the first push button. I'll give the name as B1. I'll give the meaningful text. What is that? Addition. Then what is the other important property for the push button? FCT code. Nothing but what? Function code. I'll give it as FC1. Then for the second push button, I'll give the name as B2. Text, I'll give it as something clear. I'll give the function code as FC2. For the third push button, name is B3. Text, I'll give it as exit. Function code is FC3. For the fourth push button, name is B4. Text, I give it as something cancel. Okay, I'll give the function code as FC4. FC4. Okay, and for this fourth push button, I'll give an additional property. Okay, for the fourth push button, there is a property called as function type. Function type. I'll set this function type to E. I'll set the function type to what? E. E indicates what? Exit command. Am I clear? So for the first three buttons, I gave only three properties: name, text, and function code. For the fourth button, that is cancel, I have set one additional property, what? Function type to what? E. E indicates what? Exit command. That's all. Save it. Staying time. Unable to transfer data end program, no.
So for exit also we can keep exit function.
Sorry?
If for exit push button is there, no?
Yeah. For this also, you want me to set function type to E? Yeah?
Yes.
No, I don't want to set. Let's see why. You'll understand that. Okay. As of now, only for this fourth button, I'm setting the function type to what? E. For exit button, I'm not setting the function type. I, I gave only the function code. Okay. So why, you'll understand. Unable to transfer data end program. Yes. Oh my God. It is not saved, I think. There is some issue. I need to relog in. I'll go to Object Navigator. The program is created without the screen. Okay, let me repeat that quickly. So right click on the program, create what? Screen. I'll give the screen number as 100. It will open the screen painter tool in the attributes tab, provide some description. What is the screen type by default? Normal. I'll go to the layout. Yeah, as part of this layout, I'll take the input fields here. Name I'll get as IO1. What is the other property? Since I want to restrict to enter numbers, I'll take the format to what? Either int1 or int2 or int4. I'll go for int4. For this also, I'll give it as IO2. I'll give the format as int4. And third input field, I'll give it as IO3. Format, I'll give it as int4. Let me just save it once. I'll go back. Let me check whether it is saved or not. Yeah, done. So three input fields I gave. What are the names I gave? IO1, IO2, IO3. For all the input fields, format is what? Int4. Okay, done. Format is int4. Okay. Let us take some three texture. What is the other validation here? If you see the validation, first two input fields should be mandatory, right? So if it is a selection screen, we know how to give mandatory. We use something obligatory as part of parameters. We use the addition what? Obligatory. Here, if you want to make these input fields as mandatory, if you want to make them as mandatory, what you have to do is, as part of this input field properties only, input field properties, if you go to program tab, understood? I double clicked in the first input field. I got the property window. At the bottom, if you go to program tab, in the program tab, you can see here in the program tab, there is a property called as input. What is the value it is showing here for input possible? Na? Change this input property to required. Input property value to what? Required. Do the same thing for the second input field. I'll double click on the second input field, IO2, program tab. Understood? In the program tab, input property, set it to what? Required. Set the input property value to required. So you can see here, I got the question marks here, which indicates here what? Mandatory. Understood? So what you have to do, input you have to set it to what? Required, which is available in the program tab. I'll take some three text fields. Click and draw. Okay. Double click on this. I'll give the name as B1. Text, I'll give it as what shall I give? First number. Something. Some meaningful text. First number. This is I'll give it as T2. Text, I'll give it as something second number. This I'll give it as T3. T3. I'll give the text as something. What addition is. Right. So let me just save it once and go back. Right. I'll come back again. Yeah. Okay. So I designed three IO fields and three text fields. For the first two text fields, sorry, for the first two IO fields, I have set one input property to what? Required, so that they become what? Mandatory. Let us design 4 push buttons. I'll click and draw. B1 already there. Why? Did I give B1? Acha. For this text field, I give the name as B1. So I'll give it as what? T1. This I get as T2. This as T3. Okay. A screen cannot contain 2 elements with the same name. So name is B1. Text I'll give it as something addition. Function code, let us give it as what? FC1. For the second push button, name is B2. Text I'll give it as clear. Function code, let us give it as FC2. For the third one, name is B3. Text I'll give it as something what? Exit. Function code FC3. For the fourth push button, name is B4. Text I'll give it as something cancel. Function code I'll give it as what? FC4. For this button, I'll give the function type to what? I'll set the function type to what? E. Only for the fourth button, I'm setting function type to E. Why? We'll understand going forward. Save it. Okay, check for the syntax error. No error. So my screen layout designing is completed. Any questions up to this point? Okay, right. So the designing part is done. Let us focus on writing the logic for this addition. So yesterday we have seen on the dialog screen, whenever we click on the push buttons, what is the event triggered? PAI, process after input. So let us handle the PAI event. So we have seen attributes tab, we have seen the layout. In the element list, as I told you, it contains the information of the screen elements that we placed on the layout. So if I go to element list, these are the elements I placed, the position, the type, all those things. I'll go to flow logic. What is the event you have to handle? PAI, because in module poll, as part of dialog screen, whenever the user interacts with the push button, what is the event triggered? PAI. So in the interview point of view, if anyone asks what is the event triggered when you click on the push button, means blindly we should not answer. Blindly we should not answer. We should ask whether it is a selection screen, whether it is a list processing screen, whether it is a dialog screen, whether it is a ALV report developed using classes, whether it is a ALV report developed using function models. At different places, different event gets triggered. So far, we know at selection screen level what is the event triggered at selection screen. At the dialog screen level, what is the event triggered? PI. So in the flow logic, we have PI event. By default, one module is there. We have to implement the business logic for these events as part of this module definition. So I'll uncomment this module. I'll uncomment this module name. Okay, and I'll uncomment, double click on the module name. PA module does not exist, create the object. Yes, let us create this module definition. Instead of creating in a separate include, instead of creating in the main program, let us create the definition as part of the top include program which we created at the beginning. Okay, so I'm choosing top include program, continue. It has taken the control to the top include program, module end module, just like form end form, function end function, model end model ending with input. So what is the logic? Case psi ucom. Case already we know the function code is captured in the system will what? Psi ucom. What is the function code for that addition button? FC1. When FC1, what are the names I gave for the IO fields? IO3, IO1, IO2. Now IO3 equal to IO1 plus IO2. When the user clicks on the second button, okay, when the user clicks on the second button, if you see the third validation, on click of clear button, data entered in the first two input fields should be cleared. Okay, so when FC2, I'll use a clear function. I will say IO1 and what? IO2. Okay, if you want, you clear the third input field also. Done. Then I wrote the, what is the third button? Exit. Exit. So when what? FC3. Okay, I'll say what? Leave program. For cancel also, here only I'll write. When FC4, I'll say what? Leave program. So either the user clicks on the exit button or cancel button. The event triggered is what? PI. Both are buttons only. But what is the only change? For the fourth button, I set the function type to what? E, exit command. We'll see what is that. Save it. Check for the syntax error. I got one error. Field IO1 is unknown. Understood? So these IO1, IO2, IO3 are the screen fields. Na? Understood? On the screen, I gave the names of those input fields as what? IO1, IO2, IO3. So if you are referring to any screen field in the program, if you are referring to any screen field value in the program, we need to declare that particular screen field with the same name, with same data type. So what I'll do here, in my top include program, let me remove all these comments. In my top include program here, I can use a top include program for declaring global variables, na? Right? So I'll say data, right? I'll say data, what are the names? IO1 type I gave the format as integer, na? So I need to declare the variables with the same name, type IO3. So what is the thumb rule? If you are referring to the screen fields in your program, I need to declare the variables with the same screen field names and same data type. So I declared it. Then only you'll have the mapping between the screen field and the program variable. Done. No errors. Activate this. Understood? So when we click on the push buttons, what is the event triggered? PAI. That is the reason in the flow logic as part of the PAI events model, I implemented the logic for all the four push buttons. Since I'm referring to the screen fields, I need to declare that screen field the same name. So I declare it. Yeah. Any question so far? And as usual, okay, go back and activate your flow logic also. Flow logic is activated. Okay, I'll activate my program. Right click on the program, activate. Program also got activated. I cannot directly execute now. I must create the T code. If I directly execute, right click on this, execute direct processing. I am getting an error. Please choose an executable object. So compulsory, we have to create the transaction code. How do you create the custom transaction code? SC93 na? Instead of we going to SC93, I can invoke the T code manually from here. So right click on the program, create what? Transaction. Create transaction. It is asking for the transaction name. I'll give it as something ZM2. Okay, I'll provide some description. T code for custom program. What? T code for some text. What do you want? You can get module program Z. What? 830 mod 2. Any description you give. Okay. What is the radio button you have to choose? Program and screen. Program and screen continue. So what is the T code name? ZM2. T code already is asking again the program name. Okay, what is the program name? Z830 mod 2. What is the only screen available in that program? 100. And as usual, you'll select the checkbox GA for HTML, GA for Java, GA for Windows. Save it. Active. Okay, let us save this T code in the local object. Activate your program once again and try to execute. Activated the whole program. Execute. Right, so I got the screen and you can see at the first two input fields it is showing it as mandatory. Compulsory I have to enter the value na. Let me enter 66 and something 11. I'll click on the addition button. I got the result as 77. If I click on the clear button, it got cleared. Understood? Now observe this carefully. I'll click on the exit button. What is the logic we wrote? Leave program. Na? We wrote the logic as leave program. So when I exit, what is happening? I got a message on the status bar. Fill in all the required entry fields. It is not allowing me to exit the program because some of the fields on the screen are mandatory. Na? So until unless I enter some data there, I cannot exit. Am I clear? If I click on cancel also, there also I wrote the logic as leave program only. Na? And for this cancel button, I have set one additional property. What is that? Function type to what? E. I have set the function type to what? E. In spite of that, this is not working. So I'll enter some data. Now I can exit. I can click on exit button or cancel button. So if I click on exit, we are able to exit. So what is the point here? If any screen fields fails a validation, if any screen field fails any validation, the user cannot exit the transaction. Understood? What is the validation here? There are some mandatory fields. Until I enter the data for those mandatory fields, I cannot exit the screen. Understood? So sometimes what you have to do, you need to forceful exit. You need to do the forceful exit. That is the reason for the cancel button, I gave an additional property function type to E. Na? But even that cancel is also not working. Na? If I re-execute the program, right? So exit is not working, cancel is also not working. Okay, so until unless I enter some data, right? So what you have to do, we have to define one at exit command module. Understood? We have to define one at exit command module in the PA event. So what you have to do, if you go to double click on the screen on it to open the flow logic, at the flow logic level, in the PAI event only, because in the runtime, when you interact with the buttons, what is the event triggered PAI? So here I have to say module, module name, some module name at user command. What happened? I forgot. Hmm? I forgot. If I go to save it, why it is not working? Let me activate this. Okay, so here I'll say field name at user command. No. Module. Really, I forgot the syntax. Hmm? Module name at user command. Correct only, na? Oh, sorry, boss. At exit command. Sorry. Module name at exit command. Am I clear? So what you have to do is module. You have to define your own module. Okay, you have to use what at exit command. Module name at exit command. So as part of this at exit command module, we have to implement the logic for the button whose function type is set to what? E. Am I clear? So double click on this module. PA module does not exist. Create the object. Let us create this module in the top include program. Let us save it. So what you have to do now? Module name input. It is a PA event, PA module only. Case what? Sci ucom. Okay, so you come when, what is the function code of the cancel button? FC4, when FC4, leave what program. So here I'll remove this logic from the normal module. I'll put it in what at exit command model. So this at exit, we know that whenever we click on the buttons, what is the event triggered? PI. This, when you click on the button whose function type is set to E, this module gets executed. For normal buttons, this module will not be executed. This module gets executed only for those buttons whose function type is set to what? E. Understood? So that is the reason if you see the SAP screens also, in every SAP screen you can see on the standard toolbar, we have the exit and we have the cancel. Same thing here also. In my custom transaction also, I need to take one normal exit button and there is what cancel button. So for that cancel button, what is the property we have to set? Function type to what? E. And for that function type E buttons, we have to define one at exit command module in the PA event. What is the syntax? Module name at exit command. So I define the at exit command module. This module gets executed only when the user clicks on the push buttons whose function type is set to what? E. So let me activate and execute. Right. So these two are mandatory. Na? If I click on this exit button, the normal module gets executed. There, what is the logic I wrote? Leave program, na? But it will not exit because there are some mandatory fields. Okay, so I'll click on the cancel button. For this button, we have set one additional property function type to E. Na? So on behalf of this button, that at exit command module gets executed, where we wrote the logic for exit. So see here like this. So exit is for graceful exit, cancel is for what? Forceful exit. So almost in every custom transaction, we'll take one additional button similar to this. Okay, and in that particular additional button, what is the property will set? Function type will set it to what? E. Function type will set it to what? E at exit command model. And for that button, we have to define what? One at exit command module as part of what? PAI event, as part of PAI event. Yeah, any questions so far, please ask. Got stuck. Any questions, please ask. So what is that I have done? As part of my layout, I took one additional button and I gave the text as cancel. You can give anything, but most important thing is function type. You have to set it to what? E. Yeah, Bhavan, is it clear why I'm not setting function type E to exit button? So you'll take one graceful exit button and forceful exit button. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So for this button, this for the cancel button, this module gets executed. So at exit command module will be executed only when the user interacts with the button whose function type is set to E. Suppose I'll double click on this module. I'll put the breakpoint here. Okay, I'm putting the breakpoint in the at exit command module. So when I execute, right, I'll click on this button. What is the event triggered? PI. In the PI event only that at exit command module is there, na? But that at exit command module will not be executed on behalf of this normal button. If I click on this, it is not going to what? Debugging. But if I click on this, yes, it is triggered the PI event. In that PI event, what is the module it executes? At exit command module. What is the function code of the cancel button? FC4, and I'm trying to exit the program. So this is how we define the cancel button almost in every custom transaction. So we are done with first 5 validations. First two input fields should be mandatory. We have seen that. On click of addition button, we should perform the sum of first two input fields and display the result in what? Third input field. We have done it. On click of clear button, data entered in the first or two in three input fields should be cleared. On click of exit button, control should exit the program. We have seen that. On click of cancel button, forcefully exit the transaction, ignoring the validations. Let us focus on sixth validation. Yeah, before I do that, any queries, please? Any questions? Okay. So in the yesterday's case and today's case, when you are designing the screen, as part of our custom screen, we don't have the back button. We don't have the back button. Okay. So sometimes my customer requirement is in your custom screen also you want this back button to be enabled. You want this back button to be enabled. Okay. So what I have to do for that is, right, in case of selection screen, before displaying the selection screen for the first time, two events get triggered, na? Initialization event and at selection screen output. Already we know that. Before showing the selection screen to the user, two events get triggered. Initialization event and at selection screen output. Similarly, in module pool also, before the dialog screen is displayed, what is the event triggered? PBO, process before output. You can compare this event similar to at selection screen output, right? So we know in selection screen, at selection screen output will be triggered multiple times. First time before displaying the selection screen, that is after initialization, at selection screen output, selection screen will be displayed. Then if the user performs any action, what is the event triggered? At selection screen. After triggering at selection screen, again it triggers what? At selection screen output. We have discussed it already. Similarly, in module pool also, this PBO event will be triggered for the first time, as well as it is triggered after PA. Understood? PBO event is triggered for the first time before displaying the screen, and also after performing what? PA event. When the user performs any action, if the user clicks on the button, what is the event triggered? PA. After PA, again it triggers what? PBO. So you can compare this PBO similar to what? At selection screen output. So what I'll do now, see the logic here. What is my requirement here? The moment the screen is displayed, the moment the screen is displayed, I want this button to be enabled by default. So all the default activities, you'll put it in what? PBO event. Okay. So what I'll do here, yeah, let me go back. Yeah, in the PBO event, I need to write the logic. So I'll go to SC80, right? So in the screen 100, double click. What is the first event triggered? PBO, no? User is currently editing. Already I kept it open. Huh? Yeah, this one. So as part of this, what? PBO event, I'll uncomment the module given by SAP. Understood? So inside this module definition, I'll double click on this module. PBO module does not exist. Create the object. Yes. I want what? Top include program. Let us define this PBO module inside the top include program. Yeah. Do you want to save? Yes. You can see here. This module is ending with output, na? So you have to understand that is PBO module, PBO event module. So you can see inside this there are two comments: set PF status, set title bar. Okay, somewhere I think we have seen set PF status. So I'll uncomment this set PF status. I have to propose some status name here. I have to propose some status name. Okay, if you have not seen earlier also, fine, no problem. So set PF status. I have to give the status name in uppercase. Suppose I'll give this status name in lowercase. I'll try to double click on the status name. It is giving a message in the status bar. Use uppercase letters for the status what? ABC. We have to use what? Uppercase letters. So you can give any name, but give it in what? Uppercase. Give it in uppercase. So I'll give it in uppercase. So when I double click on the status, it will invoke me a tool called as Menu Painter, SC41. It will invoke a tool called as Menu Painter, SC41. So I'll double click on this status name. What is saying here? GUI status does not exist. Create the object. Yes. Okay. Provide some short description. It's a normal screen only. Continue. Yeah, I can see now. This is called as Menu Painter, SC41. Menu Painter. So by using this Menu Painter tool, we can define our own GUI status. So what is my requirement now? I want that button to be enabled in a back button. So what I'll do under function keys, understood? We have menu bar, we have application toolbar, we have function keys. Under function keys, we have standard toolbar. Which button you want to enable back button? So you give some function code. Give some function code. I'll give the function code as FC5. Understood? Function code is what? FC5. I gave FC1 to FC4. You can give any function code. I gave it as FC5. Done. So function code is FC5. Done. That's all. Save your GUI status. Right? Check for the syntax error. Activate your GUI status. Yeah, it is active. The GUI status is active. So what I did here, as part of PBO event module, right? As part of PBO module, I defined one module. Why PBO event? Because this is the first event triggered when the dialog screen is displayed. What are the default activity you want to do? The default activities you should always implement in what? PBO event. So as part of this PBO event, I'm defining my own GUI status ABC. Double clicked on that. It will invoke me the menu painter tool SC41. As part under function keys, as part of standard toolbar, assign some function code for the back button. Okay, I gave FC5. Activate this. Go back. Activate your top include program. Go back. Activate your flow logic. Everything you have to activate. Activate your whole program. So I activated the GUI status. I activated the top include program. Activated the flow logic. Now I'm activating the main program. Now let me try to execute direct processing. Yes, you can see now the back button is enabled now because I have assigned some function code. If I click on this, it is not working. Okay, these are mandatory fields. Let me enter the data for the mandatory fields. I'll click on the back button. Not working. Button is enabled but not the functionality. So when you click on this toolbar buttons also, what is the event triggered? Same event. PAI event. So what I'll do in the PAI event, okay, I'll just double click on this normal module. When, what is that? When what? FC5, when FC5, here also I'll say what? Leave program. Save it, check for the syntax, activate. Activate everything. Now you can see execute direct processing. If I click on this, yeah, not working because they are mandatory fields. I'll enter some data. I'll click on the back button. Yes, working fine. So how do we enable? Whenever we design our custom screen, by default you will not have the some buttons on the standard toolbar. So I need to enable them. How to enable them? As part of the PBO event module, I have to define my GUI status by using what statement? Set PF status. Give that status name in uppercase. If I double click on this, it invokes the menu painter tool. As part of the menu painter tool under function keys, I have assigned some function code for the back button. And whenever we click on the button, what is the event triggered? PA. That is the reason in the PA event module, I wrote the logic for that particular exit button. Any questions? So wherever you want to enable the back button, this is the logic you have to write. Sapna, yesterday you sent a mail. So this is the answer for that. You have to define one GUI status, assign some function code, and write the logic. Here we are handling which one? PA event. There the event is at user command. You have to handle an event called as at user command. Any questions so far? Similarly, if you want to set any title, you can set. So as part of this PBO event module, okay, we have set title bar. I'll give some title bar name here. I'll give it as something PQR. Double click on this. GUI title does not exist. Create the object. Yes, yes, yeah. Let's provide some title here. I'll give the title as something what? Text field, some title, whatever you want. Text fields. What else? IO fields. What else? Push buttons. Okay, I'll say at exit command. Okay, like this, etc., etc. Okay, provide some text. Provide some title. Now don't click on continue, click on all title because you have to activate this title, then only it will appear. If you click on all title, you'll go inside. Here you have to activate. Yes, it is activated. Now come back. That's all. Activate this. Okay, now execute the whole program. Right click on the program, activate, execute now. So what is the first event triggered? PBO. Now in the PBO event only we have defined that module where we are defining our own GUI status and GUI title. As part of the GUI status, I enabled the back button. As part of GUI title, I have associated some title. So when I execute, yes, you can see I got the title also in the title bar, and this back button also is working fine. That's it. This is about the custom GUI status and custom GUI title. How do we do it? Set PF status and what set title bar. Where you have to write that? In the PBO event, because that is the first event triggered whenever we call the screen. So that's what I wrote in the PBO event model. Any questions, please ask. We are done with all the 6 validations. Any questions? So I defined this status, I double clicked, I went to this function code, assign some function code, any function code, whatever you want, and then handle which event? PAI event. I wrote the logic for that. Any questions? Great. So I'll wind up for today. As already communicated by our team, tomorrow onwards, we are starting cross applications morning 6 a.m. Okay. So if you miss this batch, next batch will be only after 2-3 months. Okay. So, right. So it's your wish whether you want to attend now or later. Option is open to you. Okay. Chalo then. So any other doubts before I wind off? I don't know. Somehow, uh, most of the participants lost interest. They are not attending the sessions regularly, and even they are not practicing also. But we are discussing everything practically. I'm not explaining anything theoretically, but still some of the participants are not in sync. So it's up to you. Already I told you at the beginning of the course, your money will be wasted, time will be wasted. And don't, humble request once again, don't share the recordings outside the network, please. Outside your network. material or recordings, please don't share it outside. Chalo then, so I'll wind off. We'll continue this Core Abap at morning 8:30 and Cross App's new batch tomorrow morning 6 a.m. Chalo then. Thanks everyone.